state is when the matter can be changed from one state to other by changing temperature, or for example, when the hot is to ice, it turns into water, and when it turns to steam, interconversion between the changing states refers to a process of matter changing from one state to other and back to its original state. The interconversion from solid to liquid is fusing or melting from liquid to solid, is freeze from liquid to gas, is from gas to liquid, is condensation from gas to solid, is sublimation from solid to gas, deposition. Evaporation is the process of matter changing from liquid to gas at any temperature. Evaporation occurs when more energetic molecules near the surface of the liquid have enough energy to escape from the surface of the liquid and form into a gas. Number of factors affect the rate of first, the temperature of liquid. At higher temperature, more molecules have enough energy to escape. Second, surface area of the liquid. If the liquid has a great surface area, there will be more area from the molecule can escape, and movement of air across the surface of the liquid. It can help remove less energetic molecules which might not have quite enough energy to escape from the liquid.
Diffusion is a spreading out of particles from higher concentrations to lower concentrations in liquid and gas. The diffusion in gas is faster than in liquid. The particles with higher concentration in a certain region spread out until there's equal concentration throughout the container. Here's an example of diffusion. Elements, compounds, and mixtures. Elements are substances that cannot be broken down into any simpler substance. Every element consists of only one type of atom, and all the atoms in it have the same atomic number. For example, oxygen gases and diamond, which is a form of carbon. Compounds are the chemical combinations of two or more elements in fixed proportions. Example, carbon dioxide and water. Mixtures are the non-chemical combinations of various substances, which means no chemical reaction occurs. They can be made up of elements and/or compounds. The components could be mixed in any proportion. Some simple differences between compounds and mixture. Compounds can only be mixed in fixed proportion, while mixture can mix in any. The compounds have different properties from the elements it contains. In the mixture, each substance keeps its own properties. Compounds can separate only by chemical methods, and mixture can be separated by physical methods. All pure substances, such as elements or compounds, melt and boil at fixed temperature. For example, water has a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius and a melting point of 0 degrees Celsius. Determining whether the substance is pure or not may need the help of the boiling and melting point. To clarify, a mixture is not a pure substance, so it usually melts or boils over a range of temperatures, which means there's the presence of impurities that decreases the melting point and increases the boiling point of a substance. Separation of mixtures is needed in the chemistry for some purposes, like separate useful components from unwanted components or to obtain a pure substance. There are several methods used for separating mixtures. Filtration can be used to separate a solid from a liquid. The filtrate is a liquid or solution that passes through the filter and the substance that remains equals a residue. For example, separate sand from water. The solid and liquid mixture is poured into the filter funnel. The liquid passes through the filter paper, but the solid particles are caught in the filter paper. The filter paper has tiny holes that are large enough to let the small molecules pass through. Crystallization is a process of forming a solute into a solid crystal to separate from a solution. When the solution is heated, it becomes more concentrated and we obtain crystallized solute. Here's an example of copper sulfate crystallization.
No more salt is dissolved. Fasten a thread on a support and suspend it in an empty glass. This thread will act as a nucleation center in the container. Now remove the solution from the burner. Pour the solution in the glass. Leave the glass aside for a few days.
Fractional distillation is used for separating a mixture of liquids whose boiling points are different. When the mixture is heated, vapors rise through a fractioning column that is hot at the bottom and cold at the top and become condensed when they reach a part of the column that is below the temperature of their boiling point. Then the liquid flows out of the column. An example of separating ethanol and water. Water and ethanol solution is heated. The ethanol evaporates first, cools, then condenses. The water left evaporates, cools, then condenses.
Structure of the atom. Atoms are made of electrons, protons, and neutrons. These particles are sometimes called subatomic particles because they are smaller than an atom. The electrons are found at large distance from the nucleus. The electrons in an atom are constantly moving around the nucleus. The nucleus of the atoms contains protons and neutrons. If you scale up a helium atom to a size of a spot hole, the nucleus would be no more than the size of a grain of sand. Virtually all the mass of the atom is concentrated in the nucleus because the electrons have a much smaller mass than protons and neutrons. The masses and charge are measured relative to each other because the actual values are incredibly small. Atomic number and mass number. The number of protons and atoms in the nucleus is counted. The atomic number or protons number. Each element has a different number of protons. The mass of number or nuclear number shows the total number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of the atoms. Mass number equal number of protons plus number of neutrons. Isotopes are atoms which have the same atomic number but different mass number. They have different number of neutrons but same number of protons. The periodic table is the search of pattern in chemistry during the 19th century result in the modern periodic table. The elements are arranged in order of atomic number, the number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. The vertical columns in the periodic table are called the horizontal rows are called period. It's important to remember that hydrogen and helium make up period 1. The 7 horizontal rows are numbered from 1 to 7, and the vertical rows are numbered from 1 to 18. The elements are placed in a particular group because the way they react and the chemical properties of the group element. For example, react very quickly with water. Elements impure are called transition metal or transition element. At this level, they are not usually included in the numbering of the group. Some have names. Example: Group 1 is alkali metal, Group 7 is halogen, and Group 18 is the noble gases. The metal are on the left and the non-metal are on the right. Hydrogen is a non-metal but is often put in the middle.